saw the Unwound reunion and you have kind of mixed feelings about it.
I thought it was fantastic, but it was a reunion. It's not Vern, Sarah, and Justin. It's Justin and Sarah and Jared Warren from Carp, which is the best possible pick, no doubt. But then some other guy that I don't even know who he is. There's some weird four-piece. I guess it's like I've never started hearing these terms before recently, but they're doing the legacy thing. It's just they're playing the catalog.
How would you feel if they made a new Unwound record?
That would have my attention more. I don't want to say or express cynicism about the reunion because I'm really glad they're doing it. And it was one of the cooler shows I've seen in a long time. I don't like younger people generally, but it was really cool to see a lot of younger people that are into good music, even if they're acting like goofs and like crowd surfing and push pitting or whatever. I'm not too into that aspect of the show, but I thought it was like good, but you just can't. My overall statement on reunions is you just can't compare it to the original thing. I saw Mission of Burma it was a big deal when they announced they were going to reunite in 2002, I think. It was around New Year's of 2002. They hadn't played in 20 years. Roger Miller famously had to stop the band because he was like losing his hearing and had like severe tinnitus. It was a big deal that they decided to do that. They were incredible shows. Everybody in Boston was super excited about it. It was like 3 nights, sold out super fast. I got tickets right away. It was amazing. They played the thing, but here's the thing. Within a year, they were in the studio recording again. And they put out like 3 or 4 new Burma records since 2002. They'll occasionally still play. Wire went away for a long time too, got back together, refused to play any old stuff, would only work on new stuff. In fact, when they first got back together in the 90s, people were complaining, why don't you play anything off of Pink Flag or Chairs Missing? And they're like, oh, we don't play our old stuff, so what we'll do is we'll hire a Wire cover band called the Ex-Lion Tamers, which is named after one of the songs off of Pink Flag or Chairs Missing, and have them as our opening act so you guys can hear all our stuff, but we're not doing it. You're gonna pay somebody to do it. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I saw Wire in like 2003, and they're fucking amazing. They wouldn't touch any of the new stuff, though. They were just like, it's just art. They're artists, and it's art. And so, in regards to Unwound, they're, I think, doing it out of tribute to Vern, because I think it's something they wanted to do, and it could never happen, unfortunately, with him. And I think that's beautiful. I think it sounds really good. And I think, if we're being honest, there's a financial concern involved, which they deserve. They deserve to make money off of their work. They should go do that. And these reissues are all great and stuff. But in order for it to stand on its own legs as like a pure artistic endeavor, in my mind, it needs to have that sort of, you got to make new work.
I want them to make new stuff. I don't even care if I like the new stuff. It is always really interesting because, it's like, okay, well, why do you have to be called Unwound? And it's like, well, it's our band. There's a thing, it's like, they were trying to get the band back together and they just couldn't. It's hard when something is so clearly defined and every person was like such a contributor. There is this weird thing. I just always wonder, maybe it's because like the appeal of live music to me isn't as strong as it once was. So it's like, I saw like a Jawbox show in 2018. Now, how would I feel if it was Jay Robbins and 3 other people? Would I be like, it's still dope to hear Jawbox songs loud and live? Some of these bands that reform and there's like almost no one in the band, you're a cover band.
I just want to say real quick, if Unwound or whatever this iteration of Unwound records again, everybody will hear the difference. Like I was trying to make the point earlier, it's like apples and oranges, this reunion versus them in their original trio formation. The proof is in the pudding. They'll go in the studio. Everyone will hear it. It won't be bad. I'm just saying it'll be different. When you change up something as critical as like part of the rhythm section to a different person, probably going to sound like Carp Unwound or something, which will be probably pretty good.
I think it's so weird because of the fact that Vern is dead and that they couldn't get the band back moving. That they were like put in a weird situation of, all right, what do we do? Like we've got these reissues. Our band is insanely popular. We want to keep playing as Unwound. We could never get Vern in a healthy enough place to do it. Now he's gone. We can benefit his family if we do this, but it's always going to feel a little bit weird, and we kind of have to get over it. Because if he just didn't want to play and was like, dude, just have somebody else play bass. And for all I know, he may have already been like, yeah, it's cool if Jared plays, and then he passed away, because he passed away pretty abruptly. Because if he had just been like, yeah, it's fine, or whatever, or if in a weird thing they were like, look, Unwound is back together and we kicked Vern out, sorry, deal with it. You know what I mean? That's almost less awkward than like what they had to do to get back together. But I think the funny thing is like how much I love the new Quicksand records that don't sound anything like Quicksand. It's like so weird. Like I wish that Tom Capone was in Quicksand. I really, really do. But like the deal with Interiors is Tom Capone was not involved in the writing, and then he played on it in the studio. And then they went to tour and he got arrested for shoplifting or something insane the first day of tour. And they were like, all right, sorry, you're out of the band. And they sent him home. So he obviously like there was messed up already, like whatever he's got going on. But I think it's interesting is it's like Slip is like one of the best records ever. Like I love Interiors, even though it doesn't sound like a Quicksand record on some level. Because Tom Capone's not there, he clearly influenced the structure, because like without him everything gets much less structured and you lose some of the like cool sounds that he would make with the guitar. You can tell it's Alan Cage and you can tell it's Sergio, you can tell it's Walter. Now the sound reflects those three people. Whatever happens with Unwound, if they make a new record, I mean, if they just get together and make money every once in a while, I can't hate on that anyway, right? Like, I don't hate on Jawbox for not making new Jawbox records. Zach Barokas doesn't play rock music anymore. What's her name is a teacher. They do other things with their lives and they've moved on. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Like, get together every so often and get paid. But on the other hand, man, I want Unwound just to make Unwound music, whatever that sounds like in 2024. One other thing, and I think we've expressed a mutual appreciation of this, is the one band that has done their reunions better than anybody is Swizz. When Swizz broke up, there was an agreement amongst the members that they could get back together whenever they wanted, and the rule was they would have to come up with a new band name. And so the first time they got back together was as Sweet Belly Freakdown, which was around for maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe 95 to 97 or 96 to 98 or something. And sometimes they would be billed as Sweet Belly Freakdown and they would play a set of Swizz songs, and other times they wouldn't. And then they disbanded, and then they got back together as Red Hair. Now it's probably 10 years ago. And only recently, for whatever reason, did they just decide this is overly complicated. We will play Swizz shows where we play Swizz songs. And Red Hair have 2 fantastic LPs, but they also, maybe as that exact same lineup, have toured as Swizz and just embraced it and not been like too particular about it. But I always like that, you know, like if whoever were to get back together and maybe Chris Farrell didn't want to play drums, or maybe it was just Alex, Fred, and Chris Farrell, and if they just called it something different, that would be kind of rad. And they played Hoover songs.
With Unwound, I think the intention is pure. I hold them in very high regard. And as somebody whom I met in LA last year said, he's like 24 years old, big fan. He got super hyped when he saw the announcement of the shows. When I saw him, he was super excited, I want to talk about it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably go. If I'm here, that's cool. And he goes, you know, it's about time Justin and Sarah like got a little bit of like, you know, this level of, like, from his perspective, that was cool to hear. You know, he was not even old enough to have seen them first incarnation.
Yeah. And it's like, why aren't these people household names, and why don't they have the paychecks to reflect that?
Yeah, that's essentially the sentiment. Like,
that's probably how I feel about Lungfish. I actually would be okay if Lungfish got back together every couple of years to tour and didn't make a record, because I would feel like they were finally getting their due.